give this person extra special love when I say their name and really rock out the applause for Hannah Roberts. Hannah Roberts. One more time, Hannah Roberts.
5 Julys ago, I thought I could get anyone to like me. See, I had taken the StrengthsFinder test, and I was the only person in Mr. Yamada's freshman seminar to get woo as my top strength. Woo stood for winning others over, and it was basically described as the ability to break the ice, but on crack, pun intended. And as a recovering homeschooler, finding out that I not only had social skills, but a social superpower was huge. And I don't know if you've ever used your personality type as a kind of horoscope, but woo just kept working for me. I got all kinds of strangers to donate stuff to my student films. I was the best third wheel ever. I got through an entire semester internship in the Valley using only borrowed cars. It seemed that, except for parking enforcement officers, no one was immune to my charms. So 5 Julys ago, when I flew to Rome to be an au pair in the suburbs for the summer, the fact that I didn't have like a contract or a curriculum didn't really bother me, because first off, it's Italy. And second, when you have woo, what else do you really need? In retrospect, I would say probably a working knowledge of Italian. The Celibertis were nice boys, or at least raised that way, but only one of them had learned any English in school. And as an au pair, your job is to reinforce existing language knowledge, not to introduce an entire language. But despite this initial setback of having no words in common, sure enough, the boys seemed to love me, as predicted. Gianluca made me tiramisu, Eduardo showed off for me at tennis practice, and little Andrea would help me pick basilico from the garden. And did I mention I was eating homemade Italian food every day? My life basically had that warm filter from the bike scenes in Call Me By Your Name. However, it turned out that what I thought was my charm working on them and winning them over was actually my novelty, as I discovered when that quickly wore off. The boys figured out this fun trick where if they pretended not to understand me, they didn't have to do what I said. Life hacks. And so, unless I had a bargaining chip like a dessert or a TV remote, I would spend up to an hour convincing them to do such soul-crushing tasks as eat breakfast or change out of their pajamas. And since I wasn't fun anymore, they started full-on retaliating. One day I found a fat lizard in my bed. Another day my journal mysteriously disappeared. They had gone full Von Trapp on me. So most days at this point, I would start my day by lying in my bed and repeating little mantras to myself that basically amounted to, I am Hannah, breaker of ices. 2 weeks before my flight home, the pasta officially hit the fan. Mrs. Celiberti had the bright idea that since she noticed the tension brewing in her home, perhaps the boys and I should bake a cake together while she was at work. And if converting degrees to Celsius and measurements to grams wasn't stressful enough, it quickly became clear that the boys were just not having any more of this foreign invader tells us what to do stuff. So midway through using the stand mixer, we went from Great British Baking Show to Lord of the Flies. There was screaming, there was flailing, there was batter thrown in my general direction. I did recognize some of the words like bad girl and stupid, because it turns out immersion is the best way to learn a language. And in that moment, I realized that I didn't actually care about winning them over anymore. So I brandished my spatula, and I threw a word that I learned from them right back in their little faces. I said, "Basta! Stop it, enough." And then I ranted something that loosely translated to, "English is the most big language." One day you are sad, you know, listen to me. I tell your mother you are bad. The cake was eventually salvaged, unlike my relationship with the children. For the next 2 weeks until I left, I pretty much only spoke to them at meals, and then only to do my traditional, "Pass the salt, please." So on the one hand, that summer felt like an utter failure. But on the other, if you think about it, I basically got paid to learn Italian. I ate a lot of really good food. And I found out that not everyone is gonna like me, and that's okay. I don't like everyone either. So when all's said and done, it turns out that even a woo girl needs to learn that not all ice is meant to be broken. Grazie.